All right, everyone. Hello. Welcome to your restorative practice. Since Tuesday, if you were with me, have updated my computer, hoping that will solve whatever issue may have been on my end with the restart in the middle class. So there is that. And for props, as we come to our mat, we're going to continue to work, again, if you're with me on Tuesday, we're going to continue to work that kind of shoulder stand like shape, but in a much more restorative way. And shoulder stand is one of the inversions that is considered restorative. It's considered cooling. It's considered a way to, just like we do in all of our restorative classes, tap into the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest. And so with that in mind, we'll just take a few minutes to sit upright on anything that you have around you, whatever is comfortable. It would like you, as always, to support your seat so that your spine can grow tall with ease. You definitely don't have to sit like I am, just kind of listening to your body, checking in, what do you need today in terms of sitting upright. And then just take a moment to roll your shoulders up and back. Just do that a few times. Get a sense of how the shoulders are feeling. Does it feel like it's relatively easy to roll the shoulders forward and then let them slide down the back? Just notice. And then try it a few times, moving the shoulder blades up and then forward and down, up, forward and down. So just reversing that direction. And then we'll relax the shoulders, let them be relaxed down the back, broadening across the collarbone, front of the chest, feeling the navel soften. Maybe you close the eyes, or if you'd like to keep the eyes open, you can lower the gaze to the tip of the nose or rest it somewhere on the floor. Just start to become aware of the breath here. Let's take a few more moments in silence, just becoming aware of the breath. Okay, we'll start to check in with the neck by bringing the chin in towards the chest. Let the shoulder blades relax on the back. Breathe into the back of the neck. And then slowly start to open the chin in the general direction of the ceiling, opening the throat. So using your best judgment, how far you want to go with that. And then we'll start to move a little bit more fluidly. So maybe it's an exhale to draw the chin into the chest. Maybe it's an inhale to open the throat and lift the chin. Let's try that rotation one more time. And then we'll just let go of that motion and we'll come down onto our backs. And I don't think I actually finished telling you what props you needed today. Similar to what we used on Tuesday if you're with me again. So I'd like you to have 2 blankets. I have 2 blankets here. They're just stacked one on top of the other. If you don't have blankets, you could grab 2 towels. You could use 1 towel and 1 blanket. So just having 2 blankets or towels of similar width, density, and size. And then a couple of couch cushions. If you do have bolsters at home by chance, you can use those, but couch cushions are a really great tool. And I'm assuming most of us have couches we can pull those cushions off of. If that's not possible for whatever reason, you can take pillows from your bed, but have at least 2. At least 2. And the denser they are, the better. Okay. And then finally, we'll need either wall space or a chair. Wall space or a chair. And your wall space could be the back of a closed door. Totally fine. And then finally, we're going to start off using something that is block-like in shape and density. So this could be, you know, Nalgene bottles are really good for that because they're like that hard plastic that are not going to collapse under the weight of your head. We're going to activate through the occipital ridge. So the very top of the cervical spine will do that little myofascial release that we do sometimes. If you don't have blocks or something like a Nalgene bottle, take a hardback book or 2 and you can wrap a blanket around it or a towel around it to give it a little softer edge. You're going to place that where your head's going to go. And then lay on down to your back. And then I like to take my block on a medium setting. And so it's probably about, I would say it's like 6 inches high. So if you have books that you want to stack to about 6 inches high, and you can play with that height. I'm not saying it has to be 6 inches. I'm saying use your best judgment, what works best for your neck. Settle that underneath the very base of the skull, right where you feel the insert of the very top of the cervical spine connecting to the base of the skull. And if you get headaches a lot, if you tend to clench your teeth at night, if your jaw tends to be pretty tight, this can be really tender. So just be mindful as you're setting this up. And as you're setting this up, as you're setting your prop at the base of the skull, give yourself a little bit of time to adjust and settle in here. So I'm moving my head right to left, nice and slow to check out to see whether I feel relatively balanced on my prop from the right side to the left side. And does that prop feel stable underneath me? One thing I'll see a lot is if people are using blocks, the block will be kind of tipped and it's not on a flat surface, so it's unstable. So make sure that prop underneath you is flat and stable. You can just reach back with your hands and check that out. And let's take a moment to settle into stillness, to find that center line, resting your head there. Breathing in, breathing out. And we're slowly going to start to rotate the head off to the right. So I want you to keep it super, super slow, really glacial pace. The slower, the better. So that as you slow down, you can notice sensation across the right occipital lobe. That's the very base of your skull. Lots of nerve endings here. So the slower you go, the more you make contact with all of those teeny tiny little nerve endings. Working with the fascia that encases our whole body, the fascia does. And it's basically, you could think of it like connective tissue. So surrounds bones and muscle, tendons and ligaments. Kind of like sometimes I think of it as like a sausage casing. How's that for a visual? All right, so eventually you're going to rest with the head off to the right side. Just finding stillness here. Offering the full weight of the skull to your prop. Relax your jaw. Relax your neck. We'll slowly start to ascend back through center. So take it super slow. If you can, even slower than your entrance. And just notice the sensations there as you move across the block or the prop. And then rest in center and take a full breath in center. And you might even just notice the difference between the right side of the skull and the left side of the skull. And then we'll slowly start to descend with our head moving off to the left. Super, super, super slow. So it should take a few breath cycles, if not more, to reach your maximum range of motion with the head resting towards the left. And then eventually settling into that stillness. Offering the full weight of the skull to your prop. Relaxing the jaw. All the muscles of the mouth. Relax the shoulders. Relax the neck. Just stay aware of your breath here. Really slowly, take your time with this. Start to exit. So again, the slower the better. So if you can identify like each new sensation, each tiny little micro movement. Eventually you come back through center. Just take a few moments, pause and breathe. If you're still exiting, no rush, take your time. And then when you're ready to remove the prop from the base of the skull, go ahead, nice and gentle, let it scoot off to the side, let the back of your head rest down onto the mat. Same line as all of the joints and the skeletal system. Just take a moment here to lie on your back. Let's bend the knees, roll off to a side. Fetal position, take a full breath here. And then pressing into the hands, lifting up. We're going to set up our first variation of a restorative shoulder stand. So we'll look at two different variations of restorative shoulder stand. There's so many different ways to approach this practice. And I want you to have kind of a sense of being able to try different things in your body and seeing which one resonates with you the most. Because certainly some things can feel better in some bodies, and it's not going to work for every single one of us. So we're just approaching this with a spirit of exploration, trying something out. So this is where those folded blankets are going to come in. Okay, so you can see that these are pretty wide. I have them folded pretty wide. And like if I place this over the middle of my yoga mat, they're a little bit wider than my yoga mat, which is not essential, but it's nice because it's going to be the foundation for my shoulders. I'm going to pull the top edge of my mat over so that my shoulders aren't sliding around on the blanket. They actually get to rest on the sticky mat. So my head's going to go here, my shoulders are going to go here, and then I'm going to either take my legs up the wall and slide something underneath my sacrum to elevate my hips above my heart, or I'm going to use a chair. And I'm going to show you this first, and then we'll do it together. So please pause and just watch. You can get your blanket set up like this, but then pause and just watch. Okay, so first I'll just show you at the wall. I don't have to be too terribly close to the wall, but I could scoot a little closer if I wanted to. And then I'm gonna take a peek down at my blankets and my mat and get a feel for where my shoulders are. I want to have the back of my head on the surface of the floor, not on the mat, and see where my neck is, the back of my neck. The blankets and the mat is supporting that natural curve in my spine. Okay, so again, head's on the surface of the floor, and then this blanket is supporting the back of my neck. My shoulders are completely fully on the lift of the blankets. Now from here, I'm either going to walk my feet up the wall, press my feet into the wall, and then slide a bolster or two or blocks if you have them underneath my sacrum. Just rest my arms alongside my body. You could also take your hands to the rib cage. Okay, so one variation of restorative shoulder stand is here. You can put as much height as you want underneath your sacrum as long as you don't feel like you're compressing the organs. So I might slide another block or another couch cushion under here to give my pelvis just a little bit more lift. But if you're doing that, I like it a little bit more towards the low back. so that I have the flesh of my glutes hanging off the edge of this cushion. Okay. And it doesn't feel like I'm gonna roll forward off of my mat. And I also have all this space underneath my neck. Okay, so this is a restorative shoulder stand version at the wall option. Again, you could slide a chair underneath the calves if the wall is just not going to work for you today, and do the same thing. So if you haven't begun to set this up already, please feel free. Again, you're going to come down, take a peek at your mat. You've got your blankets folded here. You've got your mat folded over the top of that, and your head is going to rest up here off of the mat. That's where the back of your head goes. So that work we did to lengthen the neck before we started our practice, that comes into play right here. So I'm scooching myself pretty close to this chair that I'm using, laying down again, shoulder blades on the mat completely. I have all this space above my shoulders for a mat, and then this is tucked underneath my cervical spine, this mat, this blanket. And then I'm resting my calves here on the chair. I'm going to press down into my feet, lift my hips up, slide some props underneath my low back or sacrum. That could be your couch cushions, your pillows, whatever it is that you want to use to elevate the pelvis. So, okay, if you haven't begun to set up your shoulder stand variation, please go ahead. When you're laying down on your back, be mindful of where your head is. It's not on the mat at all. Back of the head's on the floor. The shoulders are lifted above the head by the roll of the mat over the blankets, your two stacked blankets. And then the pelvis is elevated by your props. And then the feet are either resting on the wall or on the chair. Arms wherever you like them. Snuggle the shoulder blades just a little bit closer, get a little bit more length across the collarbone and the back of the neck. Settle in here. If you need to make any adjustments, please feel free. This might feel a little strange if you've never done it before. Most inversions do feel strange because we don't spend a lot of time upside down in our daily lives. But when we do consciously on purpose in such a way as this, there's tremendous benefit to the physical systems of the body. For example, the endocrine system, which regulates our hormones, the lymphatic system, which you might have heard me talk about before, which is responsible for the removal of cellular waste. And also, of course, circulation, blood flow, nourishing the vital organs, and in particular, the brain. I think it's worth pointing out that in the yogic texts, shoulder stand is known as the queen of all asana. If you're wondering what the king of all asana is, it's headstand. So oftentimes in a sequence, like a vinyasa sequence, you would have headstand and then counterpose shoulder stand. So headstand's meant to be really energizing, enlivening. Shoulder stand's meant to be very cooling, soothing, and calming. Okay, so if you're comfortable where you are, please feel free to stay. I do want to give you one more variation of this restorative shoulder stand. So if you're going to come with me, we're going to first remove whatever props are underneath the sacrum so that the back of the pelvis can come back to the mat. We'll roll off to the side nice and gentle. Fetal position, press into the hands, lift the shoulders off of the mat, unroll the mat, and then the blankets are just going to slide forward. So now what's going to be resting on the blanket is the back of my head and the top of my shoulders. Now what I'm going to elevate is my thoracic spine, my upper back, my pelvis, my calves, and my feet. And I'm going to do this with the use of my cushions. So again, couch cushions. Some of us are going to need two, like a little choo-choo train. Some of us will only need one. I'm just going to keep my chair here because I'm just going to slide my legs right in between the legs of the chair. So this one takes a little bit of adjusting. So if you're coming with me, watch first. I'm getting like about the center of this cushion that I've got my pelvis on and my upper back. And then when I come down, I'm looking for this lift across the front of my chest. And if you were to look underneath my armpits, you'd see the edge of this cushion is right underneath my armpit. So it's not underneath my shoulder blades. It's just right at the tip of the shoulder blade. So the very base of the shoulder blade. That's going to allow my rib cage to expand, my heart to lift, my thoracic spine to open. And then from here, you might stretch the arms out wide. So it can be a little bit more subtle. And if you've got a lot going on in the low back or the hip flexors, it can be very intense. So what I'm saying is allow yourself to have this full range of experience. You don't need to have any particular experience, but just know that whatever you're experiencing, wherever you're having sensation, usually just signifies, okay, something might be a little tight here. Something might need to be adjusted, maybe. Give yourself permission to do that. And then when you find a place where you can soften and breathe and let go of any muscular contraction, that's the place you rest in. So I'm going to opt to take my Shavasana in this shape today because for me, this is feeling pretty good and relaxing in my body. But if you would like to take your legs up the wall or come off of the lift of your cushions or change anything, if you're still on that first variation of supported shoulder stand, take a classic Shavasana on your back, feel free. We'll just spend about a minute. We'll take a minute in silence, just letting the breath be natural, no control, no force. Just letting it go, letting it rest. Shavasana. Feel free to stay longer in your current shape. Take as long as you need. If you need to move on with your day, start to add a little movement to your fingers and your toes. Head side to side. When you're ready, you could stretch your arms overhead. Breathe into the length of the body. In your own time, rolling off to a side. One last time, fetal position. Pressing up to a brief, comfortable seat. Just take a moment here to elongate through our exhale. So again, it's that counting of the inhale. See if you can add a count or two to the exhale. Maybe it's 4 to 6 count inhale. Maybe it's a 6 to 8 count exhale. Beginning whenever you're ready. Try one more round of breath like that. The exhale just a little bit longer. And closing our practice, joining the hands together at the heart, bowing the chin into the chest, taking a moment to honor your effort and your practice with reverence and gratitude. May you use the fruits of this practice to serve your highest good. May you share it with those around you that you love and who could use healing. May we remember collectively to send love and healing to all sentient beings. May they be happy. May they be free. Namaste. All right, everyone, we made it through. No technology glitches. Yay. Thanks so much for being here. Take care of yourselves, and I hope you come back again soon.